Hello, Annalisa, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us today. How's everything going over in Panama?
Hello, Rafael. Everything is good right now. How are you?
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for taking your time for joining us. For everyone watching, we have Annalisa Palacios, who is representing Panama. And you can see the Panama Canal in the background. That's a great touch. The idea of this space that we have in this project is to invite international experts in business and work with projects, international projects, who are in different markets around the world to talk about cultural and communication aspects of doing business in their country. So it's nothing technical, it's just to learn more about the cultural aspect. And Panama is a very interesting country because it has a lot of international influence as well. So with all the other interviewees, we have 7 questions, and we will start now. So Annalisa, the first question, tell us a little bit more about you and what kind of work that you do, please.
Okay, I'm a proud Panamanian, as you can see, and I'm have a heart of a traveler and a soul of a storyteller. A devoted mother and dedicated professional, and I try to be a good mom, a good daughter, a good sister, a good person above all. And I think you have to move your world just being a good person and trying to make joy room for joy for your life and enjoy it. I live all my life in Panama, but I studied abroad in the US. I'm open to be an international opportunity sometimes in the future. For now, my work, I support the successful delivery of climate change projects across Latin America and the Caribbean. I work closely with regional leaders and country offices. I help guide projects from start to finish. So I'm consider myself a project manager, also an international consultant. So being that I have some experience in other areas like market research and data analysis. So having a strategic decision making and identify opportunities for scaling impact. So I do a little bit of everything, but mostly in project management in many areas, not only in the UN universe. So that's what I do.
No, that's great. Thanks. And the reason of inviting you to speak with us, you are very international. You studied abroad. You work internationally, and we actually met in Taiwan, the other side of the world. So, so you do have all this international mindset. So thanks for sharing that. The second question: what are some things you recommend people to do and say when they first come to Panama to have a first meeting or to speak with someone that they're interested in doing a project or a business opportunity? What should they do in this first encounter, and what should they not do? What should they avoid to say and do in this first meeting?
Okay. Yeah, when meeting someone in Panama for the first time with intention of business or projects, it's important to build a good rapport. Show respect for the local customs and establish trust like really, really early on. This is very important for Panamanians. And you have to begin with a warm and respectful greeting. You cannot be like too informal, even though we are a very informal culture. But starting, you have to show like genuine interest in the person, not just the project. Panamanians are very value value too much the personal relationships. You have to be really courteous and really nice and friendly. And that's something that you have to keep in mind when knowing or meeting a Panamanian possible partner. Also, you have to acknowledge the local context. If you're Panamanian, you have to show respect for us, for our culture, for our language. If you don't know Spanish, try to try to understand or learn a few words beforehand. That's very important for us. The things that do that maybe avoid or don't say, you don't have to be like overly informal for the first time, and also don't ignore or dismiss the cultural environment or our culture. Or if you are gonna meet with someone and is dressed like in an indigenous costume or whatever, it is very respectful to not dismiss that. And don't have to assume that everyone speak English fluently. Like, even though many people speak English, assuming may cause like or come like an arrogant, or it's something not to do. And also, uh, don't you have to avoid at all costs being impatient, because Panamanians, we have our time. The things get a long time to get done, bureaucracy and stuff like that. And if you express impatience, that can be a sign of a no.
No, very, very clear. Very good suggestions for breaking the ice and it's a very personal connection that's important when you meet with the local partners there. So I agree, and thanks for sharing. The third question, we also recognize that it's important to have a deeper cultural understanding of a local place when doing business there. What cultural aspects might be considered when doing business in Panama? You mentioned a little bit of it already, but what should someone consider when they're coming to Panama and to do business, culturally speaking?
Yeah, as I mentioned, courtesy and respect, and having a special attention to the personal relationships. Also, the importance of personal appearance and presentation. Even though Panama is a very hot country and we should all be in shorts and flip-flops, it is not the custom. We dress properly, we dress in a kind of casual, informal way for everything. So this is very important. It's cultural. Yeah, I don't know why, because Panama is really hot, but it is something that is Panamanian. And also, while many professionals speak English, Spanish is the dominant language, and it can vary a lot from the cities, Panama City, and the other people from other regions in the provinces. Is not that common to know English, so the language is really important too.
No, great. Thank you, Annalisa. And that actually jumps into our fourth question, which you started talking about now. If someone does not speak Spanish, if a foreigner wants to come in, he does not speak Spanish, how do you suggest him communicate with the locals to be able to do business there? What should he do? What are his options?
Okay. Not speaking Spanish, it doesn't have to be a barrier, but making a sincere effort to bridge the language gap can significantly improve the communication. But some of the suggestions I can give you is to learn some basic Spanish phrases. That's it's very easy. Even a modest effort to learn Spanish or try to communicate, it will make a very good impression. You can also hire a local interpreter, bilingual assistants. Um, I am a certified translator, so that's also a point for me. So there's a lot of offer. You can hire someone like in a easy way, and it's not that expensive. You can use the translations app. There's a lot of translation apps nowadays, and it will be very, very important to translate your material, your key material ahead. It's so easy right now. So you can just put it in the computer and it will translate. So having that ahead of time is really, really nice. And you have to also partner with the local professionals, um, take a cultural language training. Maybe it's not mandatory, but it will be good. And also be patient and open-minded. These conversations can take longer than expected because it's in a different language. And pay attention to the nonverbal communication. Panamanians are all hands and faces. So paying attention to the nonverbal, it's also key.
No, that's great. The other language, right? The body language is very important. And I,
Yes.
and I wanted to ask us, it's good to, you reminded everyone watching that you speak English very well and you're certified. So anybody looking to go to Panama can contact Annalisa, of course.
Exactly.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's this connection. People will like it, will appreciate if you know a few words. And they do speak a lot of English there because a lot of international presence. But if you have this, if you go through the extra effort with speaking in Spanish, you'll get some points from the locals for sure. This
For
cultural
sure.
connection. Thank you, Annalisa. The fifth question, it's a little bit more in the communication area. To get better results in visibility or sales, what are your recommendations as the most effective ways to do marketing for products or services in Panama? And I ask this also in terms of what platforms do people use? How do people do marketing? How should they do marketing and sales in Panama?
Okay. The successful marketing in Panama requires a blend of local insight, strategic outreach, and cultural relevance. It's a mix, a perfect mix. So some of the recommendations I can give you is the first thing you have to understand your target audience. Take time to research the demographics, behaviors, preferences, the customer segments, all that you can have in a market research for your target, no? Also, you have to leverage with social media. Everything right now is social media. You have to know all the platforms, all the TikTokers and the influencers, ambassadors. You
Yeah.
have to keep up with that and knowing what's going on in Panama, what is the most used platform. You have to also build a strong local brand presence, optimizing your website or your communication, the channel you're going to use in Spanish. You can have also a very clear button that says Spanish, so all the people can understand. And also super being in touch, being up to speed with the communication in WhatsApp. And everyone now, no, I don't know, it's not everyone, but a lot of people doesn't want to talk. They don't want to talk on the phone. They don't want to read long emails. They want everything like immediately. So WhatsApp is a super strategic channel to enter in the Panamanian market and set for sales or marketing. So
Yeah, no, Lisa, thanks for that. I think this is really important because in the U.S. and in Europe and some other places that may not use WhatsApp as much, but if they're thinking of doing business in Panama, they have to create a WhatsApp channel of communication. And I see this in other Latin American countries, including my own here in Brazil. So you're absolutely right. This is something people have to take into account. And talking about social media, which are the most popular ones in terms of businesses? Instagram, do people sell or do marketing there? Facebook, LinkedIn, what would you suggest?
The most common is Instagram and TikTok. Yeah, Facebook is for like more, more Gen X and baby boomers. And for the rest is more Instagram and TikTok. Even though TikTok has some ban in some countries, but in Panama it is widely used.
Great, great. Yeah, as a company, creating a company page on Instagram or TikTok, this is something that's important they can think about as well. Great, thanks for these tips. The sixth question has to do more with empathy. Um, if a business partner comes in Panama, if a business partner in Panama wants to get to know you better, you're a foreigner coming there, they want to get to know you, invites you to a local coffee, tea shop, restaurant, or even virtual happy hour. What are the topics that people in Panama like to talk about? That's not business related. It's to build a rapport, like you said way in the beginning. What do you talk about in Panama?
Well, I have some topics that are very good to have this non-formal conversation, but also to make a very good impression and rapport. And like I mentioned, relationship and familiarity is very important in Panama. So family and personal background, that will be that is taken good. It's not intruding. If you ask, are you married, you have kids, where your mom and dad and everything is good, is acceptable, and is an entry point, a very good one. The other thing you can talk about is food. Food and local cuisine, like asking where are the restaurants, what can I eat, what can I order, where should I go? Asking for the typical plates, like sancocho, arroz con pollo, all the things that are really Panamanian. And also you can ask for you can talk about cultural events or traditions. Panamanians, we celebrate everything, you know, Carnival, Holy Week, uh, everything. We have a festival for everything, even for a food. So asking for the cultural traditions, that is also a very good point to enter. And of course, sports. Sports. Panamanians, we love football. Uh, we love baseball. We have some celebrities. Boxing with Duran, Roberto Duran. So the sports is also a no-brainer to talk about.
Perfect. And a curiosity, do people talk about the canal, the Panama Canal? Is that a topic that's also popular? People ask questions. People want to go visit it. What's the relationship? Because it's such a symbolic uh, uh, place there in Panama, right?
Yeah, that's part of the question, that the cultural events, what we should do, it is obviously going to visit the canal. And yes, we talk about the canal all the time and try to explain and try to, encourage them to go to visit the locks. They have a very nice place so you can go and learn and watch a movie and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been there a few times, so I highly recommend everyone going. It's very interesting, the historic part of it, and seeing the ships coming through. Definitely something to do when you're in Panama.
Yes.
Great, thanks, Annalisa. And the last question, what one word should everyone learn to say in Spanish and why? In the context of Panama, of course.
There are so many, so many words, but okay, if I can go with one, it will be gracias. Gracias is thank you, because gratitude is universal. And saying gracias is one of the simplest. yes, most powerful ways to show respect. So that will be one. Also, por favor, please and thank you, as Barney says. And there's another one that is very curious, like, for foreigners, is when you sneeze, you say salud. And I think that is not very common in other countries, not even in Latin America. It's like bless you, but it's salud. And it is a very, very respectful way to acknowledge, like, maybe you're sick or maybe you're having an allergy. So salud. Don't worry.
Perfecto. Thank you. No, gracias. Gracias, Annalisa. I think it was very clear. It's very helpful, very, very specific to the point. Your suggestions, very, very useful. I hope everyone watching can take notes. I'm gonna include Annalisa's contact information in the article that we're writing. So if you have questions, if you want to connect with her, feel free. Thank you again, Alisa, for taking part of this project, for sharing your insights, recommendations, experiences. And I hope this also benefits you and brings opportunities. Any final comments or recommendations for our viewers?
No, just come to Panama. Panama is great, and we have everything you need for even tourism or business. And if you need any assistance, you can contact me via LinkedIn. I'm also a market researcher, so I can be a starting point if you're looking for Panama.
Absolutely. And Panama is known as the hub of the Americas, right? So doing business in Panama is very strategic. You can reach the North America, South America, Caribbean very quickly because it's right in the middle. So I highly recommend everyone watching to learn more about Panama. Ask Annalisa, find out more about the opportunities. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. And we'll be in touch. Thank you so much. Bye. Ciao.